The diplomatic reception hall on Velashka Prime was fully secured, bathed in the soft, neutral lighting favored by the inner worlds. 3 delegations were present for the Rimwood Corridor Peace Accord signing. The ceremony was proceeding exactly on schedule, and absolutely no incidents were anticipated. The Terran delegate had been highly cooperative throughout all preliminary sessions. The formal signing sequence hinged on a single carefully negotiated gesture, the handshake. The following account has been submitted to the Galactic Biological Threat Index for review. The Terran delegate's actions were not explicitly hostile, though that determination has not reduced the severity of this filing. Surveillance Record 7741. A. Initiates. The Terran delegate officially listed as a peace treaty signatory but bearing the previous Earth origin occupation of Carpenter, enters the frame. Camera 3 captures his arrival. He wears standard formal attire. He carries no weapons. No cybernetic or genetic augmentations are detected by the perimeter scanners. He is entirely baseline. However, thermal imaging immediately registers a quiet anomaly. The hall's climate control is locked at exactly 22 standard units. This temperature is universally recognized as optimal and perfectly comfortable for the Ashkari, Palathi, and Selvari biology. For the human, it appears to be slightly warm. His skin temperature registers noticeably higher than the ambient environment. The automated biological monitoring system logs a slow creeping accumulation of moisture on his epidermis. Though the scanners cannot yet classify the specific compound, the ceremony proceeds through 90 minutes of multi-species protocol. Speeches are given. Formal declarations are read into the permanent record. The Terran delegate sits patiently, his demeanor remaining completely relaxed. Yet, the atmospheric tension builds entirely within the unseen data streams. Camera 6 records a detail noted only in the post-incident review. At minute 47, a thin sheen of liquid appears across the Terran's forehead. The anomaly deepens. If the Terran's baseline physiology required continuous fluid venting simply to endure a climate-controlled room, the security AI flags the behavioral logic as incomplete, unable to process the biological physics. At minute 63, his palms show visible heavy moisture accumulation. The human shifts his weight. He wipes his right hand down the side of his trouser leg twice. To human eyes, the gesture is a casual unconscious tick. To the observing security network, it is a manual physical clearing of excess chemical coolant from his primary manipulators. The critical moment arrives. The Ashkari chief diplomat, ALN-11, steps forward to initiate the ceremonial handshake. This physical seal of the accord was negotiated for 3 exhaustive weeks. Direct physical contact between disparate galactic species is exceptionally rare, carrying profound diplomatic weight. The Terran stands to meet her. He extends his right hand. He smiles warmly, offering a slight, apologetic tilt of his head. "Sorry," he says, his voice carrying easily across the silent hall. "Bit of a sweaty handshake, it's warm in here." He means absolutely nothing by it. It is an empty social platitude. He does not realize he has just verbally confirmed the active deployment of an unclassified biological compound. ALN-11 extends her primary manipulator appendage. Contact is officially made. Camera 4 captures the collision of species at the highest available resolution, freezing the exact millisecond the diplomatic protocol transforms into a biological hazard event. The Ashkari diplomat's delicate sensory receptors press against the human's broad palm. Immediate data floods her neuro network. Temperature 37.2 degrees Celsius. Surface moisture present and extensive. Chemical composition, water, high concentrations of sodium chloride, and trace organic acids. ALN-11 pulls back. It is not a dramatic flinch, but the high-resolution feed captures her sensory filaments involuntarily and fully retracting into her carapaced wrist. It is a severe, uncontrollable biological fear response. The human notices the sudden physical tension. He looks genuinely concerned, offering another apologetic smile as he wipes his hand on his trousers again. "Sorry about that. I sweat when it's warm. About 1.5 liters an hour." He shrugs his shoulders. "It's just how we cool down." Total silence dominates the hall. 6 seconds pass without a single breathed word. Breaking strict diplomatic protocol, an Ashkari aide steps aggressively between the delegates, running a handheld biological scanner over ALN-11's exposed appendage. The device chimes a muted warning. The aide leans in, his voice caught by the directional microphone array. Their species excretes thermal regulation fluid through every surface of their body, continuously. The compound contains sodium chloride. The diplomat stares at him, continuously. Under thermal stress, output reaches 1.5 liters per standard hour. The aide pauses, looking at the human in horror. From their skin, the biological scan of the diplomat's appendage blinks an urgent red. The human's involuntary thermoregulation excretion is instantly classified by the Central Security Network as a low-grade chemical irritant. The human has just leaked corrosive chemical coolant onto a foreign dignitary during a peace treaty signing. Panic cascades through the room. The Pilathi delegation silently and immediately requests full biological decontamination protocols, terrified by the realization that a room temperature of 22 standard units is actually a severe thermal stress zone, forcing the Terran to continuously vent acidic water into the shared atmosphere just to survive. 3 formal complaints are filed within the hour. The Ashkari cite unannounced biological fluid transfer. The Pilathi cite chemical exposure. The Salvaret preemptively demand full biological disclosure for any future physical contact. The entire ceremony is suspended, and the treaty remains unsigned as the terrifying reality sets in, which meant the fluid transfer wasn't an intentional diplomatic insult, nor a calculated biological attack. It was simply a biological necessity for a species forged in an atmospheric furnace. The Terran is asked to submit a comprehensive biological capability disclosure before negotiations can resume. He looks genuinely confused by the request. You want a list of what my body does automatically? Yes, that's going to be a long list. The historic accord was finally authorized 4 planetary days later. It included a newly drafted addendum. Section 14, Clause 7, explicitly mandated that all physical contact with Terran delegates must be conducted utilizing species-appropriate protective barriers, legally recognizing that human biological fluid excretion is involuntary and does not constitute hostile action. The simple gesture of a handshake was permanently transformed into a highly regulated diplomatic precedent, referenced in 14 subsequent interstellar treaties and known informally as the Moisture Clause. The former carpenter ultimately signed the peace accord wearing heavy synthetic gloves. He still does not understand why,